What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of MMA Fight Picks with Ant and Jay. I am your man, Ant, and this is my man, Jay. Today, we're breaking down, UFC UFC San Diego. This card is going to be a fun one. There's some good fights on it to break down. There are some so-so fights that I'm not too excited for, but all in all, I think it's going to be a good card. Last week was a pretty fun card, despite none of the names being too big. But all finishes. What is that? I think this is the second time in UFC history all finishes.
Yep.
So I mean, hey, I don't think we're going to get that type of card today, or not today, but this week. But I do see a couple of finishes in sight. So without further ado, let's jump right into this bad boy. Don't keep anybody waiting, right?
Yes, sir.
So we got the first fight of the night. We got that man Youssef Zalal taking on Damone Blackshear. Damone Blackshear is making his UFC debut. If anybody's never heard of him, that's probably why. Zalal has a couple fights in the UFC. By a couple, I mean more than 5, 6. I think it's 5, 6, 7 possibly. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to go scroll through at the moment. But he is a solid UFC vet, if you will. He's 25 years old. So, I mean, pretty decent experience for a young guy like this. But tail to tape goes, Blackshear will be 28. Zalal will be 25. This fight is at bantamweight. Zalal's dropping down to 135 for the first time in his UFC career. I'm not sure if he's ever fought bantamweight before. I took a look. I didn't see any bantamweight fights, but that doesn't mean he's never done an amateur or something like that. Height-wise, both 5'10". Zalal will have a 2.5-inch reach advantage. This fight is going to be interesting. It's a quality fight to kick off the card. If you look at Zalal's record, Zalal has a lot of finishes in the regional scene and the amateur scene, but he has no finishes in the UFC. So that's kind of interesting. His style is a little more grindy, a little more clinch. And then you look at Blackshear. I watched 2 of his fights, I believe. And they're
monster.
And they're both finishes, both submissions. Bless you, sir. His submission game is actually pretty solid. I was actually kind of impressed. I didn't think that it was going to be very good. I mean, you look at his record. He does have a loss to Chris Moutinho, which is not the greatest loss, but he also has a loss to Pat Sabatini and Sabatello, who's in Bellator. So, I mean, he has decent competition. It's not like he's only fought scrubs. I'm probably leading the Zalal side here. I haven't bet this fight. I might bet this fight the day of, but at the moment I haven't fully picked a side. I'm leaning Zalal here. I think we just know what to expect from him. And I think Blackshear, truthfully, his path to victory is probably going to be a submission, and that's not to say he can't get a submission, but Zalal seems like he's a pretty quality fighter with pretty solid submission defense. And that's kind of how I feel about this fight. What do you think, dude?
So yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the Youssef Zalal side, but it's not very confident. I think this is definitely an over 1.5, over 2.5 goes the distance type of fight. I think it'll probably be, a 29-28, or maybe Zalal comes out and just looks super dominant. I don't expect a finish. He's never been really much of a finisher. I think he only has about 2 or 3 finishes in his whole pro career. Yeah, like you said too, I could lay money on this. I'm not sure. I don't think I will, but I'm kind of confident Zalal should win this. Like, if Blackshear was some big stand-up threat, I think maybe I would lean more towards him. But I think that pretty much Zalal is going to be a bigger guy. He's very durable. He can hang with these big strikers like Topuria, Wu Choi, Woodson. All got hands. All are pretty solid in the division. I don't think this is I think this is probably he's probably Peter Barrett, probably a little bit better than Peter Barrett. So it'll be harder than the guys that he's beaten in the UFC. but I don't think it'll be. I expect him to win. I don't think he'll lose.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, he doesn't have any. He hasn't lost by finish before. You look at his losses. He has 2 split decision losses in his professional career, and then the other ones are unanimous losses to Wu Choi, to Taporia, and to Jose Mariscal. So he's definitely durable. I mean, you hang in there at Taporia, you don't get finished. That says a lot to me.
Yeah, for sure.
He does have a bunch of finishes on the regional scene. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 finishes on the regional scene. 3 of those finishes in the LFA, or 4 actually, 4 in the LFA. So take that for what you will. Some of these guys that he's beaten though have kind of doo-doo records. He's been a 1-1 guy. He's been a 4-3 guy, but he's also beat a couple guys like Jordan Griffin in the UFC, 18-7, Peter Barrett, 11-3. So he has decent wins. I think he should probably win here, probably win by decision. So Zalal by decision might be a good move. My only cause for concern is he is dropping down to 135. And so that might be a bit challenging for him, but who's to say that it's not going to be easy? We just saw Brian Battle last week look like shit on the scales, and he fought totally fine. So even if he looks bad, it doesn't mean he's going to fight bad. So I'm leaning Zalal here. You're leaning Zalal. This is a good fight to kick off the card.
Yeah, it is a great fight to kick off the card. He's going to be really big, dude. I mean, these guys are both big bantamweights, but like going down from featherweight to bantamweight, and he's 5'10" with a 75-inch reach. That's pretty impressive. So we'll see how he looks on the scales before either of us do anything, probably.
100%. So that's how I'm going. We're gonna go Zalal with this one. Any last thoughts on here? This is a pretty straightforward fight. I think Blackshear maybe submission, but I don't. Tapuria's not submitting you. I don't see how.
He's the only guy Tapuria's ever not finished in his career. Like every other guy at this level, or like in any pro fight he's had, he's finished. And Zalal's the only one to survive, so that's pretty impressive. But Blackshear by submission plus 600, Zalal by submission plus 1400. Both are hittable if you think that one of them can finish the other.
Yeah, that's not bad. I definitely like the over 1.5, over 2.5, but I'm guessing the books are all over that. I haven't even taken a look at that.
Yeah, to go the distance, it's minus 185. Over 2.5 is minus 240. Over 1.5 minus 450. So
yeah,
not much value there unless you like the officially goes to the decision.
Yeah, fight goes not bad, minus 180. But I really don't like banking on those fights. It's also short notice for Blackshear. That's another thing. So that could also play a part in potentially a finish. We do short notice guys tend to lose. But we'll move on to that second fight. We're going Zalal here. Second fight of the night, we have Jason Witt against Josh Quinlan. This fight is a rebook because Quinlan popped for some type of steroid, not USADA, but it was the Nevada Commission, so he can go and fight in California because he's not in Nevada anymore.
Yep.
So this fight, we kind of broke it down last time, but Jason Witt, he is going to be 35. He's going to have a 6-year age gap between him and Quinlan. He will be the smaller man, and he will have a shorter reach. Witt, I mean, he has really quality wrestling. I've always been impressed with his wrestling when he could implement it and keep it going. Problem is he has bad cardio, and his chin is extremely weak. So if he's not on top of you, he's susceptible to being finished at any moment. And when you have a fighter like that, I can't bet that guy. I think the only way if you're gonna bet Jason Witt would be like a decision only, where if he gets knocked out, you get your money back. But if it goes to the scorecards and he loses on the scorecards, then so be it. But I think that's his path to victory is a decision. I don't think he's knocking out Quinlan. I mean, I think Quinlan's going to win this fight. I think Quinlan will knock out Witt. The way Witt's chin is, I feel like I could knock out Witt. Like that's how bad his chin is. Like it's awful. He gets touched, he goes down, and that's just pretty much his whole career. I mean, you look at his losses; it's just finish. So I'm going Quinlan here. I think this is another pretty straightforward fight, and it's a good second fight on the card. Kick the card off with Zalal. Probably not going to be a finish, but an exciting 15 minutes. We get here. We got Witt against Quinlan. So I'm rocking with Quinlan. Quinlan by KO is probably my official pick. I don't know if I'll bet it because I don't like to bet minus money props, but I think that's his path. And so it's not a bad option to bet that. It's just not my cup of tea. What are you on?
Yeah, last week I was parlaying Quinlan because I felt like he was one of the safer guys on the card. This week I'm not doing that, but not much has changed other than they're going to be weighing 180 pounds, and Quinlan maybe on steroids still. So hard for me to switch off that. I'm going to play I think I got the knockout prop for Quinlan at about minus 112. So I'm playing 1.12 units to win one. Be surprised. I mean, I guess if Quinlan doesn't get the knockout, but Witt could wrestle fuck him. He could. But like you said, bad gas tank, almost 36 years old, against a power puncher, gets knocked out by air. I'm going to be Quinlan. So, yeah, pretty straightforward, like you said. Quinlan all day.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And also, that was a good point that this is a catchweight fight. They are fighting at 180, I believe. And, yeah, I mean, you got the most chinny guy in the UFC against one of the biggest cheaters in the UFC. This is his second time popping for something. So clearly he's juicing a lot. And he can't act like he doesn't know it at this point either. One time, shame on you. 2 times, definitely shame on you. So it is what it is. But Quinlan is the side here. Witt is just not durable enough. And the gas tank is really, really boo-boo, and you can't bank on a fighter like that. Can't put your money on people like that. So Quinlan's the side for both of us here. No dissent or disagreements yet. Let us move on to this third fight. We have a banger, another banger. We got Ode Osborne fighting Tyson Nam. Ode Osborne is going to be 30 years old. Nam 38, which is pretty old for the flyweight division. Cutting down to 125 pounds is that's a lot to cut down to 125 as a 38-year-old. It says he's fighting out of Portland, Oregon. He's not. He's fighting out of Hawaii. He is training with some of the guys that Max Holloway trains with. I'm pretty sure he said he's training with Max Holloway's grappling coach and Max Holloway's, I don't remember if he said striking coach or wrestling coach, but he's one of those, 2 of those coaches he's working with. Tyson Nam will be, he's, I guess, the more veteran fighter, if you will. He is 38. Like I said, he has a lot more pro fights. He's probably fought the tougher competition. He's the more durable fighter, if I'm being honest. He's only been finished 2 times, 3 times in his career, and that dates back to a long time ago. You look at his last, I'm just scrolling right now, his last loss that was a finish was 2013, and then before that was 2008 and 2006. So he's a tough fighter. Tyson Nam is coming off of ACL surgery. He hasn't fought in a year and 6 months. He had to take 9 months off to rehab. He had a surgery, so you got to rehab, got to get stronger. So that's something to kind of consider when you're betting this fight. A long layoff plus an ACL injury for a 38-year-old. I think that factors into it a lot. It'd be different if he, hurt himself a couple years ago and now he's 38 and fighting, but he's just coming off of that surgery. And we got Ode Osborne, the Jamaican sensation. He will be fighting with purpose in this fight. He's 30, so he's still young, primed in his physical prime right now. I think he can make some noise in this division. He does have power. He has solid striking. He does have solid wrestling. Doesn't like to use it, but he has it. But you can't bank on him to use it. So I'm not going to sit here and act like the guy is a grappler or a wrestler. But I think that he can get the job done. I have a bet on Osborne, minus 240 odds. I wish I would have gotten a little bit sooner. I'm kind of busy this week and didn't really look at any of the odds until yesterday. But I think Ode should get this done. I think he's quicker. He's going to have more reach. I think he does have the better wrestling and grappling if it does go there. And then just to top it off, being 38, coming off an ACL injury, I just don't really like that. And yeah, so I mean, that's really how I'm going with this. I'm going to Osborne. I think he should get the job done. And I think he's probably going to finish Nam, even though Nam has not been finished. I think time is coming. There's a time and a place for everything. And I think this is the time. I think this is the place. So give me Ode Osborne. Fight doesn't go the distance. It's kind of gross. It's like minus 160, minus 170 right now, which is not the greatest for a flyweight fight. But maybe targeting that under 2.5 potentially, maybe even targeting under 1.5 if you really want to get spicy with it. But I'm going to Osborne. I have Osborne money line. I haven't gotten cute with it and gone ITD or submission or KO. I might do that later on in the week, but at the moment I'm sticking with the money line play. I have like 2.4 units to win one. Just kept it real simple. What are you on? What do you think about this fight?
I am going to be on the Ode Osborne side as well. I think it's kind of the passing of a guard. Nam, he's only really lost to tough guys, but he's really high up there in age. He doesn't fight out like an amazing camp. He's going to be the smaller guy in terms of like size and reach. I'm definitely Ode. I think he's going to win by TKO, but it's like you said, he could definitely win by decision, or he could lose a decision for all we know. It could be a close fight. I'm under the belief that Ode is kind of hitting he's kind of hitting his prime stride. He's 30 years old, almost 31, in the next 5 months. He's found his weight class. He's coming off a big knockout win. His confidence is high. I'm going to be riding Ode for sure. I'm not going to play him straight up, I don't think, but I am going to have him with like one or two other guys, and I like him a lot.
Yeah. The only reason why I have a little bit of cause for concern that Tyson Nam doesn't get finished is, he went fight with Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell was a savage. He lasted in that fight. He fought Kai Kara France, didn't get finished. And I would argue Kai Kara France hits harder than Osborne and is just a better fighter than Osborne.
For sure.
And I'm not even going to argue that. That's just a fact, I think. I think Kai Kara France would stomp Osborne.
Yeah.
So, Nam is a tough motherfucker. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to get finished, but I just think there's a time and place, and everybody can get finished at some point. And I think that potentially is going to be this weekend. So that said, we are both on Osborne, both on the same side again. We're both on the favorites for the first 3 fights. This fight is a very favorite heavy card, in my opinion. I don't see too many live dogs on this card. And sometimes, when that happens, there are a lot of underdog wins. And other times, you see like last week, almost all the favorites won except for about 2. So you never know. It's close, but I'm going to Osborne here, and you're going to Osborne. Let's bounce to this next fight. We got fight number 4 on deck. Who we got here? We got another fight with a potential finish. I think this fight out of the last 3 fights has the most likelihood to be a finish. We have Gabriel Benitez versus Charlie Ontiveros. Benitez here is going to be 34. Ontiveros is 31. Benitez, as you can see, has not been winning his fights as of late. He is 1-4, but he has fought some very quality fighters. But Ontiveros has also fought some decent people. Holland, and then these guys, I don't really know. But Holland, I mean, is better than anybody that Benitez has fought. That was up at 170, I believe. Ontiveros took that fight, and he was way underweight. He got hurt in that fight against Holland, too. But you look at Ontiveros, he just gets finished all the time. I talked about Jason Wick gets finished all the time. This guy really gets finished all the time. I want to say every single one of his losses. I'm going to click on this real fast.
American Bad Boy.
Every loss is a finish. Finish.
Fought Jeff Neal. Jesus.
Yeah. So that was a doctor stoppage too. And that was if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he basically quit, told the doctor, I don't want anymore. I don't think it was. And then that's kind of a thing for him. He kind of quits. And Benitez, while Benitez, I mean, has not been looking great, I don't see why he can't absolutely just finish Ontiveros quick. It should be an easy victory for Benitez. He has also, though, been finished a decent amount in his career. And that's not a good look. Ontiveros, he hurt Steve Garcia in his last fight. If you go back and watch that fight, he had Steve Garcia wobbled like crazy. But he just, again, quit. He's a quitter. He feels a little bit of resistance, and he's out of there. You look at Benitez, too. He is trained out of a good camp. He's trained out of AKA, so he has decent people he's training with. I'm going Benitez here. There's no way I can pick Ontiveros. It's not possible. He's just not good. To be frank, he's just not a good fighter. And that's the way I see it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. This guy shouldn't be in the UFC. He's in the UFC because the UFC needed a guy to fight Kevin Hall on a short notice. He did it up a weight class, pretty much broke his neck. I'm definitely Gabriel Benitez. I'm knockout by Gabriel Benitez. He doesn't have the best chin. Yes, Charlie could rock him. It would be tragic if he gets him in the first round. But, I mean, if you want to just play the both sides, you just play them both first round, because I don't see this fight really going much farther than 1 round. Maybe I only see it going past 1.5 for sure. So, pick who you think's who's got the worst chin, which is, in my opinion, Ontiveros, and then pick the opposite side, get -136 for Benitez by KO, or don't touch it because this is a gross fight and just enjoy the violence.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I mean, Bovada doesn't even have round props out. I don't even think they want people to bet round 1 or round 2 because they know it's going to be a finish. So they're like, fuck that. I don't even want to give you guys that free money. Fight doesn't go the distance is -475. And while I do like contrarian plays, I mean, I played Uriah Hall versus Muniz, fight goes the distance. I played Chris Curtis and Vera, fight goes the distance. So I do play those contrarian plays, but Charlie Ontiveros does not have the durability to last 15 minutes. He's another guy who I feel like if I punched him in the face, he would fall. And you even look at -1.5 rounds, the under is -250.
Yeah.
-250 for under 1.5. So that's gross. I mean, how often do you see that? You see that in a Francis Ngannou fight, you don't see that in lightweight fights. So, and this is at lightweight, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So I can't touch this fight personally.
Benitez is going up. Charlie's staying the same.
Exactly. So, I mean, maybe Benitez by KO minus 136. But again, like I said last couple fights ago against the Quinlan fight, I don't really like to touch minus money props. Just it's hard to really shoe yourself into one specific way someone's going to finish, and you don't get plus odds. It's not always the best, but I really, really cannot argue with you on this one. I just can't.
I don't have it played, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna pick Benitez, you might as well play that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't play Benitez money line. Like minus 360, there's no way. I mean, I fully think he wins, but minus 360 that's a hefty price for Benitez for a guy who's also not very good.
Facts.
So yeah, I mean, we're both on Benitez. Ontiveros is just not someone you can bet on, really.
He's 11-8, dude. Like,
yeah, he's 11-8, and every single loss is a finish. If every loss is a finish, it means
not even all of them are finished. Like, he's verbally said, "I quit." Like, at least twice.
He's quit. He's stopped on the chair. Like, just he's a quitter. He has no chin. And he's also just not very good.
And if he gets knocked out one more time, you should probably retire. 9 knockouts and you're pretty much 500.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely out of the UFC after this fight. Once he loses, he'll be out of the UFC. But I mean, he's 31. Maybe he can make improvements, but I don't see how you make improvements. I guess the other thing that I kind of glazed over is he will be significantly bigger in height and reach.
Huge. He'll
be
huge.
4 inches taller. No, wait, not 4 inches. That's more than 4 inches. That's 6 inches taller and 5 inches in reach. So, I mean, if you are a guy who likes to bank on size and you think that matters in this aspect, then I'm all for you taking that plus 280, but I do not co-sign that. It's not my money though, so do what you want with your money, folks.
Yep.
I just don't advise it. Next fight here, we have Nina Nunez, aka Nina Ansaroff, fighting Cynthia Calvillo. Let me scroll down. This fight here is honestly one of the grosser fights on the card, but I do have a pretty strong opinion, and I'm probably going to make a bet on this fight. Cynthia Calvillo is 1-3-1 in her last 5. Nunez is 3-2. This fight, what weight class is this going to be at?
125.
This is at flyweight, so 125. So Nunez is moving up a weight class, which I don't think is necessarily too big of a deal. She had a baby maybe like 2 years ago, so she had that in her life. She's also getting older, so cutting down to 115 might have just not been great for her. She will be the taller woman. They will have the same reach. I don't believe she's training out of American Top Team anymore. I think her and her wife, Amanda Nunez, they have their own little training camp group of people that they work with. So it's a little bit different. They're not fighting with a bunch of different bodies every day. I'm probably going to have a bet on Calvillo. I think that Nunez, I don't think she's very good. Not to say Calvillo's great, but Calvillo, she's been working on her wrestling. I think that she's going to get back to it. You look at who she's fought. She fought Andrea Lee on short notice. So I want to make that clear. She fought Andrea Lee on short notice. She did look bad. Her corner did stop the fight, but Andrea Lee looked pretty unbeatable that night. Then she lost against Jessica Andrade. Okay. Then she lost against Caitlin Chukagian. Okay. Then she beat Jessica I. That's a good win. 2 years ago, it's a quality win. And then she had a draw with Marina Rodriguez. So, those are all 5 of those opponents are quality opponents. Look at Nunez. She beat Angela Hill, Randa Marcos, Claudia, Tatiana Suarez, and Mackenzie Dern. So, if you really look at that, Mackenzie Dern's the only person on there who's really, I would say, a legit UFC fighter. Angela Hill is, but she's on her way out. Granted, that fight was 4 years ago, but still, we know Angela Hill is over the hill, for lack of a better term. Even though 4 years ago, Angela Hill still was not very good 4 years ago, as she is not very good today. So I'm leaning Calvillo. I will likely have a bet on Calvillo, but it doesn't feel good to bet on Calvillo, but I just think that Nunez really just doesn't have an answer, especially if this goes to the ground, where Calvillo will have the significant advantage. So that's how I feel about this. I know Calvillo's record doesn't look great, but like I said, she's fought some dogs. She's fought top contenders in that division, and she's not elite at that level, but you take away these 3 losses and she's 9-1-1, and those 3 losses are against pretty quality opponents. So that's how I feel about this fight. I'm going Calvillo. I'll likely get a bet in either after the show or sometime this week. But Nunez is not the side for me. What are you on?
For the purpose of the show, I'm going to pick Nunez, but this is a no bet situation for me. Both have pretty large question marks surrounding them. Nina, obviously the kid, motivation, maybe this is her last fight for all we know. We don't know. Maybe she wants another kid. Who knows? They seem to be really happy though. Amanda doesn't seem like she's slowing down though. I heard the other day she said something about going to 40. I don't know. She's not planning on having any kids, so we know that much. Anyways, I'm going to pick Nunez. I think that, definitely the path to victory for Calvillo is the wrestling, and that she should definitely win if she chooses to wrestle at a high rate. But do I trust her to do that? Not necessarily. She quit her last fight, but she's got enough time off. I think it's been 8 months or so, about 9 months. So, I definitely see how you could be on her side, but it's dog or pass for me, and I'm not going to be betting it. I think maybe if I do, it's like over 1.5 or something like that. Like, I don't see either of these ladies finishing each other.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of expand on why I'm on the Calvillo side, just looking at her stats, she averages almost 2 takedowns a fight. I think if she can get a takedown, round 1, get a takedown round 2, she can bank some time. She goes for about one submission attempt per fight. I'm not saying Nunez is going to get submitted, but I believe that is a threat. And lastly, I did have a bet on Calvillo the first time that they were about to fight a couple weeks ago. It was a little better line. It was like 155, not 175, but
that's right. Yeah.
It's like 20 cents or something. Like, it's at the end of the day, it's really not that much of a difference. So that's really how I'm going. My feelings haven't changed. And truthfully, with Amanda Nunez winning, it makes me feel like even more on the Calvillo side, because Nina Nunez, she's fighting for a paycheck at this point. Like, she knows she's 36. You're not fighting for a belt. Same could be said for Calvillo, but her wife is made. Her family's made. They're millionaires. They live a nice, beautiful life, happy family, beautiful little daughter. So, I think that she's coming here kind of like Sam Alvey, kind of like another fighter later on this card who is a little over the hill, and they're just coming to collect their checks and go on about their life. So I'm going to go Calvillo. You are going Nunez here for the sake of the pick.
Yeah. So.
But that's how.
Sorry, I just want to add one last thing. For Nunez, I also think that she's only lost to top competitors, but she got taken down by Mackenzie Dern and submitted. So that doesn't look great, especially because that's down a weight class, and Mackenzie Dern sucks at wrestling. So still dog or pass, but adds to your point a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. She got a first round armbar. It was at the very end of that first round too.
Yeah. Which
is, I never like to see a fighter get finished or submitted at the very end of a round, just because, I don't know, it's easier said than done. I'm sitting here on a computer just talking. So, but I think that, like, when you have just a little bit of time left, like you got to hold out. But it is with the armbar, your shit is going to get snapped. So I do understand that. But at the same time, it's like you fought so hard that whole fight, that whole first round, and then you couldn't defend for 12 more seconds. But again, like I said, easier said than done. I'm sitting here talking behind a computer screen. So I'm not a BJJ guy. I don't fight. It's not me. So I'm only going to say how I feel, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right. So we'll move on to our next fight. That is enough with this one, right?
Yes.
Let's move on. We are looking at we're breezing through this card. A lot of these fights I think are going to result in finishes. I mean,
same.
3 of the first 5 are probably going to be a finish in my book. All right, I'm just going to call him Lucas because I don't really know how to say homie's name. So Lucas is fighting Martin Boudet. This fight is interesting to me. They're both 30. Boudet is more of the legit heavyweight. You know, he's weighing in at 264, 263. He's at that peak of the heavyweight weight limit. He will have a 1-inch reach disadvantage, which is going to be very minor. I think the big thing here will be Boudet will have, or should have, I should say, the grappling advantage. But I'm going to be on the Lucas side. This fight gives me Dante Mays and Hamdi, whatever his last name is. That's the vibes I get from this fight. You have a heavyweight fighter who's not great. I mean, he's okay. He's subpar. He's beat Chris Barnett. Hang on, okay. He beat Lorenzo Hood on Contender Series. Okay, well, that wasn't great. And then he's finishing a couple other guys who I've never heard of in my life. I try to find some of these fights, and I couldn't really find them. But I did watch these last 2, and Chris Barnett, we all know, is just not it. He's fun. I love the guy. Athletic, pretty cool dude, but he's not it. I'm going to go Lucas here. I think that at the odds, like, I'd rather just take the plus 220 shot than lay minus 275 on Boudet, who's just truly not that good. And this is heavyweights. Anything could happen. We just saw Tom Aspinall bust his knee. We saw Dante Mays get dominated basically 3 rounds. I can't lay the minus 270 on Boudet. I'm going to Lucas here. What side are you on, man?
I'm going to be on the Boudet side, but I'm not touching this fight. I think the over 1.5 is probably a good play. But if I was to make a bet on this fight, it's I'm waiting to see the weigh-ins because Boudet should be a lot bigger, like you said, than the more natural heavyweight. But to be honest, neither of them are that attractive betting-wise at this point, just because, Bruzakis is coming off of one, like, I don't even think the guy tapped on the Contender Series. I'm pretty sure. Like, that was a really controversial and a stoppage there. And then also he popped for steroids right after. And so he's been out since then, kind of like in the Quinlan situation. So I'm going to take the Boudet side, especially because you mentioned the grappling. Maybe if he falls on him, he might be able to show us something new. But I'm not touching it. Should be an interesting fight to see going forward because Boudet should – I think he's gonna have like a somewhat decent career as a heavyweight. He's not gonna be a champion. He's not gonna be top 10 or anything like that, I don't think. But I think he's gonna put on some fun fights for the next couple of years. Bruzakis, if depending on how big he is in the weigh-ins, the guy could be maybe a freaking light heavyweight at some point even. But the pushing him on the cage, I think that's the path to victory for Boudet, kind of holding him there. He's going to be bigger, stronger, going to have better grappling, should have better control. So I'm going to lean him, but I don't really have any plans to make a bet here. And if you are going to make a bet on it, I'd recommend waiting till the weigh-ins.
Yeah. One thing that I did find interesting is like you look at Boudet's regional scene stuff, and he was more interested in grappling. But his contender series and his UFC fight against Barnett, he didn't go for any takedowns. He really didn't implement that style. So I don't know if it was more of a just who he was fighting or what. But Lucas, he does. I mean, he averages 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. He has 100% takedown defense, 66% takedown accuracy, and he averages 2 submission attempts per fight. So while I did say Boudet will have I did say Boudet will have a grappling advantage. I'm not sure how extreme it will be. His grappling looked decent on the regional scene, but I mean, look at his UFC stats. He doesn't really implement that. So, and Lucas's is only one fight. Those 2 takedowns are from that one fight against Potter. So all of this, the stats are really skewed. I mean, it's 2 UFC fights versus 1 UFC fight. Can't take too much away from it, statistically speaking. But in this instance, I feel like I'm trying to learn my lessons and not lay chalk on very low level heavyweight fights. And this is kind of one of those fights, or to me, it falls under that category. But I could be completely wrong. Boudet could come out here and starch this guy and actually look real good.
I mean, the thing is with Boudet, I haven't seen anything negative from him, so that's why it's like kind of hard to fade him. Because he's done what he's supposed to do in both fights. He took care of business. He didn't take any big shots, and he finished the guy.
For sure.
The last fight, though, Barnett, Barnett was turning away from him and hit him in the back of the head or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's
Barnett
more
thought he was going to get a no contest or something like that.
Yeah, he was pushing for a no contest. For me, it's more just the betting line, minus 275.
Yeah, I'm not touching this as a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, it's just the betting line, minus 275 for a guy who's not fantastic. Is just something I don't like to do. And when you have heavyweight fighters, all it takes is one punch and somebody could go night-night. So you never know.
Facts.
All right, we'll move on, though. That's enough of talking about these 2 guys. There's not much left to say. If you guys are enjoying this, please drop a like. Please drop a subscribe. We much appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to fight number 7. We got Lupita Godinez versus Angela Hill. First off, this typology picture is horrendous, but that is beside the point.
That is the ugliest haircut I have ever seen.
Yeah, it's really bad.
On a woman.
Shit, on a man that would look bad. So
I've seen worse on a man.
True. I've seen some pretty bad ones on men. This fight right here will be it's interesting, I guess.
She's 13-12 now, Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward to me though, this fight. Angela Hill will be 37. Lupita is 28. They're fighting this is a catchweight at 120. This fight was supposed to happen like October, I believe, and they just bumped it up to right now. So I don't really know what to make of that or why, but I don't really think it matters. Hill will be 1 inch taller and will have a 3.5-inch reach advantage. This fight, I think, is probably the biggest lock of the night. I think Loopy is one of the safest bets on the card, if not the safest bet. We just saw Angela Hill get absolutely dominated by Verna. Verna didn't submit her. Verna didn't finish her.
Almost did.
Almost did, though. Yep, you're right. But she took her down at will every single time. Like, when she wanted the takedown, she got the takedown. And she almost was out striking Hill, too. Like, and that was the worst part about it, is because I did have a bet on Hill that fight. And I was watching it. After the first round, I was like, I'm an idiot. But I really just bet on it because I wasn't high on Verna. And, I mean, I'm still not very high on Verna. But I shouldn't have done it against Hill. Hill was not the person to try to fade Verna. And I think this fight is going to be very similar. I think she's going to take her down. I think she's going to sit on top of her in her guard. And she's going to ground and pound her. Do I think there's going to be a finish? No, probably not. Angela Hill is tough as nails. And I believe the ref will give her the benefit of the doubt, even if she is taking a beating. However, it's possible she gets finished. I like Lupita though, and I'm not laying the money line personally. I might put Lupita in a parlay with a couple other people because that minus 350 is a little juicy to lay. But at the same time, I just laid fucking minus 330 on Jamal Hill last week. So why not lay minus 350 on Lupita? You know what I mean? This is like this is more of a lock than him against Santos. And if I think about it in that aspect, like, why not? But you look at Lupita by decision, I mean, that's minus 157. And again, like I said last time, I don't like to lay money on minus props like that because she can submit her. She can ground and pound her out. I think both of those things are possible. So while I do like that minus 157, it's a whole lot better than minus 350. I think taking Lupita just money line or parlaying her with like one other person so you get kind of close to plus money is that way to go. They do have double chance. You could do submission or decision. That's minus 285. That's still kind of gross. Even TKO and decision is minus 225. So, I mean, Lupita's the side here. It's really just a matter of how do you personally feel about betting? If you like laying heavy chalk, Lupita is the heavy chalk play of the night to me. And I might come around to just laying massive chalk on her, like a big fat, like 5 units or 10 units, because my unit size isn't like absurdly large. And just kind of playing her and getting back like 4 or 5 or like 3, 4, 5 units and just leaving it at that. But it's Lupita all the way here. I don't see how Angela Hill wins this fight. I really don't. I don't think she hits hard enough to knock Lupita out, and her wrestling and grappling is not a thing. So I don't see how Angela Hill even stands a chance here or wins. What about you, though?
Yeah, Lupita's bae, man. Like, I have never bet against her, and I'm not going to start now. I feel like every time we have a freaking Angela Hill fight, some jackass is saying, dude, she's the value side. How at this point? She loses split decisions every time. She's 13-12. She does stupid stuff sometimes. Like, I don't know. I used to be like, yo, she'll fight anybody, blah, blah, blah. But, like, honestly, like, she's just not that talented when it comes down to it. She showed up late to the MMA scene, I'm pretty sure. The grappling, she just can't keep up with. She's got decent hands. She has no power. She has a tough chin. She's eating front kicks to the face. She's not going to go out of this fight, I don't think. I don't think Lupi's going to take her out. Last thing is maybe a submission that she can't get out of. But, yeah, Lupita, I think, like you said, one of the safest plays of the card. Sure, this could go split decision because it's a freaking Hill fight, but I still think Godinez is going to look better throughout the fight and win the moments, and win the minutes and the moments. So I'm going to be parlaying her quite decently. And I got Ode in that parlay too.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, just to add to it, Angela Hill, they say she has 76% takedown defense. Sure didn't look like it in her last fight. And you look at Godinez, she averages 5 takedowns a fight. So if Verna was taking her down at will, Lupita is the better grappler. Verna is a better wrestler, and Verna is the better grappler. But when it comes to wrestling, Lupita has it in the bag. And so
I've watched the Penne fight back too. Split decision. Lupita won that fight. I think most people agree with that. Juana Carolina fight. I had a bet on her in that fight, but she's just so much smaller than Juana, and that was a weight class above. So I think that the only way you're going to be able to beat her is if you're a lot bigger than her, because she's more skilled in the wrestling and grappling than 85% of the women in this division.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I think that this is a smash Lupita spot. I honestly wish I would have looked at the odds like 2 weeks ago, because you probably could have got Lupita.
It's like minus 230, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, you could have got a little bit better than what it is now. But Everybody's smashing her. Everybody's putting her in parlays. It's only going to get worse. She's probably going to be close to minus 500 come fight time on Saturday. Like that's not even over exaggerating. Like I think she's really going to be like a very, very, very big favorite on the card. We're both on Lupita. Age, she's better. I mean, grappling, wrestling, she's better. She could take this fight wherever she wants to take it, whenever, wherever, however she wants it. It's going to go her way. So we're going Lupita. We both are on that side. We'll move on to the next fight. We have the first fight of the main card. And this is a good one. I think this is going to be a very, very fun fight. Gerald Meerschaert versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva will be 1 year younger. He'll be 1 inch shorter, and he will have a 3.5 inch reach disadvantage. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, so right now we have Silva's the big favorite, minus 300. And while I agree that he is the favorite, I don't necessarily know if I agree with minus 300. Meerschaert's dangerous. Like he has plenty of submissions. He's live for an entire 15 minutes. He has plenty of submissions in that third round, which makes me like him a little bit, just because I know for a fact like he is going to go out there and he'll fight for your money, and you always have a shot if you bet on him. Like there's a potential that he can be losing the entire fight and he catches a submission with 1 minute left in the third round and you're like, oh shit, that saved me, So I don't like to bank on that though, which is why I am picking Silva to win this fight. But I think Meerschaert obviously has the clear path to victory, which is that submission. I mean, he lost the Jotko unanimous decision. He never had an attempt to really get a submission. And I think if this fight stays on the feet, Silva's just going to absolutely piece him up. Silva was touching up Alex Pereira last fight. He lost, but he was punching him. He was hitting him. He was connecting. He held his own until that third round. Third round, Pereira really beat his ass. But the first 2 rounds, I mean, it was close. And so...
Is that a horse?
Yeah, fucking Timmy. Lay down. It was a good one, though. And so... I think Silva wins, but it's not to say that I think GM3 is definitely live for a submission. So if you play this fight, I think you might want to go either Meerschaert by decision or potentially Meerschaert just by some submission, not decision. Yeah. I said the wrong word. Meerschaert by decision. Or Meerschaert finish only, which is plus 275. Look at Meerschaert. He's a pretty durable guy. Not extremely durable, but I mean, Hamzat hits like a truck. Ian Heinisch hits pretty hard, and I think he hits a little bit harder than Silva, in my opinion. But Thiago Santos ground and pound. Hermanson, he got choked out. But a lot of these, like he's getting finished in some, but it's like kind of weird finishes. And I don't think Silva presents the huge grappling or submission game. And so I think maybe that finish only, that's like sitting at 275. So he gets a finish. Woo. He gets finished. You lose your money. But if it goes to decision, it's just a push. You get your money back. But that's probably how I would play this fight. But I'm probably going to stay away and just enjoy the fight. But Silva is a solid guy to parlay with Loopy as well. You got to get a couple of those big favorites, parlay them together, get down to plus money. I'm not a huge parlay guy, but I usually play 1-2 max a card. That's how I'm feeling. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think the odds are a little wide. Probably closer to 200, maybe like a minus 220. And that's where it kind of was at when I was first looking at it. I think that Meerschaert is not going to go out super quickly. I think he could, obviously, but I think he's not. I I think he's going to push some grappling situations. You know, it's kind of hard to compare Silva's fights that he's been against in the UFC to a Gerald Meerschaert fight just because, you know, Wellington Turman's not that good. Andrew Sanchez no longer in the UFC. So, you know, I think he should knock him out, but I think it would probably be more likely that it's a second or third round knockout versus a first round. Because I think Gerald is pretty smart about keeping his distance. He's not a terrible striker. He doesn't have terrible defense, but he's definitely there to be hit occasionally. And it's only going to take one really from Bruno. So I guess my official pick is Silva round 2 TKO, but it could happen in any round. And also a sub could happen in any round. So
yeah, and the reason why it's hard for me to back Silva is I just look at who he's fought / who he's beat, and it's just nobody good. Like you said, Wellington Turman, Andrew Sanchez, and Jordan Wright. Like none of these guys are tough like Meerschaert. None of these guys have the submission threat like Meerschaert. And none of these guys are even nearly as experienced as Meerschaert. Meerschaert has what is that?
50 fights.
Yeah,
30 to 49.
Yeah, 49 fights. So when you look at that, it's like he's been in there with some savages. You know, he's been in there with some killers, and like Hamzat obviously got finished, but like he's fought Holland, he's fought Hermanson, he's fought Santos. Like he's fought some savages.
He was so scared of that Hamzat fight. Like you could tell,
he was petrified.
He's never looked like that ever again. Or that was just the hype, dude. The hype got to him.
I agree. Yeah. The problem is though with him is he's just always losing until he's not, and that's kind of the issue. Like
he's gonna get hit.
Exactly. Against Stolfus, he was losing. Then he caught the submission third round. Against Muradov, he was losing. He caught the submission second round. You know, against Duran, he was even losing against Duran Win, and then
he's going 9-9. Yeah, I'm
caught the submission third round, and so it's like it's tough to say because while I think he's live, I think Silva also has the potential to put him out / just win a decision. Because when you get these guys who are just like submission or bust, they don't get the submission. Like Paul Craig, you know, you don't get that submission. Like, you're probably going to be done. The only difference is Meerschaert does have a couple late finishes. So it's really how you want to play it. I'm siding with Silva. You're siding with Silva. He should win. He's the big favorite. I just think the line's a bit wide. I mean, implied probability says that he should win this fight 75 out of 100 times. And
I'd say 70, 65, 70.
Yeah, I'm more like the 60 range, which is, 60, 65, which is splitting hairs at this point. But, 65% minus 185, so that's a big difference from minus 300 to minus one to what we're at now. But we'll move on because there's not much else to say about this fight. I think Meerschaert is one of the more live dogs on this card, though, I will say. But we have right here a fun fight. We broke this down last time. We have Ariane Lipski against Priscilla Cachoeira. Lipski is a pretty big favorite here. She's sitting at around minus, what is she sitting at? She's minus 200. Cachoeira is plus 164, plus 165 at most books. I have a bet on Cachoeira. I had this bet last week. Casino didn't void it, so it's still here for me. I still have it. The odds, I think, were plus 160 that I have it at, so I'm not going to rebet the fight again at higher odds. I'm just going to keep my plus 160 and leave it at that. And I kind of feel a little more confident about it this time than I do last time. When you're sick, you're coming off a semi-bad weight cut. I can't imagine Lipski's feeling significant better this week. That stuff takes a lot out of you. It takes time for your body to recover, especially when you're sick, especially when you're not feeling well. They don't have to cut weight, though. This fight is at bantamweight, so we'll be at 135. Cachoeira is the larger woman in height, at least. She will have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. I think power-wise, Cachoeira has the advantage. Submission, grappling-wise, Lipski has the advantage. So I really think if this fight stays on the feet, Cachoeira has a strong chance of winning this fight. She hits pretty hard. Her problem is she takes a lot of damage, and she wears it very, very not well. It shows that she takes damage, but Lipski doesn't have a ton of power, in my opinion. You look at her Mandy Bohm fight. I don't know. I feel like she lacks some killer in her. I thought Bohm was really gassed in that third round, and Lipski kind of took it easy on her. Look at her losses. She has been ground and pounded by Shevchenko, Antonina Shevchenko at that, and then Montana De La Rosa. And when I see that, neither one of those girls hits harder than Priscilla Cachoeira, in my opinion. I think Cachoeira hits pretty hard for this weight class at 125. So at 135, I'm not sure if that'll make much of a difference in terms of power, but I think Cachoeira can definitely hurt her, potentially finish her. I think this is a sneaky finish fight on the card. I don't think a lot of people are expecting a finish, but Cachoeira is prone to getting submitted. Lipski has solid submission game, and Lipski is prone to getting knocked out, and Cachoeira has power. So when I look at it like that, I think, fight doesn't go. Potentially is a solid play, which you're probably getting at plus odds. I mean, I would be shocked if that's minus money. It shouldn't be minus money. I haven't looked. Let me peep. Fight doesn't go is plus 120. So, I mean, their books are kind of on it. Plus 120 is not fantastic. But I'm leaning Priscilla Cachoeira here. Not necessarily because I have a bet on her, but I think she might just be the better fighter overall. But that's how I'm leaning. What do you think?
So I'm on the Lipski side. I had a bet on her last week to win by decision, but I am not betting her this week. Partially, I guess it's because it's going to be up a weight class, and it's going to be only a week later when she was sick. But I do feel like up a weight class does favor her because I think she's a little bit bigger woman. And in her losses that she's lost, obviously you could say, bad chin, blah, blah, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not correct, tell me if I'm wrong, that both of those fights she got taken down and kind of just ground and pounded. Like, she doesn't like to be ground and pounded. She's not good at being taken down and getting back up, which Priscilla doesn't do. She's not a grappler, and she doesn't, like, let's see how many takedowns per minute or per fight, or per 15 minutes she averages.
It's
0.21.
Yeah, it's very low.
Lipski's 0.19. So, I think it should be a standing battle. And, and I think Ariana Lipski's definitely the more technical striker. I think Priscilla literally blocks punches with her face. But is Priscilla going to go out to any punches to the face? No, I don't think so. Not by Ariana Lipski. So I think this is probably going to decision unless Priscilla just overwhelms her and gets a finish, which is possible. And she could also win a split decision that nobody agrees with, because it looks like they both are kind of coming off one of those fights.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, also one reason why
both coming off of beating bums too. So.
Yeah, they are beating bums. One reason why I'm also on the Cachoeira side is because Lipski, I mean, she doesn't throw a lot. Her volume is pretty low.
Yeah, that's another part of it.
And her striking accuracy is pretty shit. So while she is more technical, like, it does look better. It won't be as sloppy as Cachoeira. I mean, she's hitting at 36%. And that's just, I don't know, it's hard to back a fighter when it's going to be a stand-up battle, most likely, like you said. And, I mean, she's only hitting 36% of her shots on average. Sure, Cachoeira will eat that 36% with her face, not block any of it. But it's just a low percentage of shots. Kim put a beating on her. Kim won that fight against Cachoeira. I don't really know what the judges saw. I honestly think it was just a matter that Cachoeira hits really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And she hit her with those really hard elbows, and the judges were like, "Oh shit, look at that elbow." And I think that that's what it came down to. But I don't necessarily know why that can't happen again. But yeah, I think Cachoeira is one of the more live dogs again on this card. I think we have Mearshart and Cachoeira are pretty live dogs for me, at least.
I think it's funny because you're on her side in this type of matchup when I'm on the opposite side in a later matchup that is pretty similar in terms of how the fight is going to go down.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting one.
But hey, there's a reason why I'm no longer trying to ride the Lipsky by decision. I'm thinking it's probably dog or pass at this point, but I think Lipsky should win, so she's my pick.
And I mean, just a big reason for me just comes down to she was sick and she had a bad weight cut, and
she just, I mean, it looked like she quit the weight cut, but maybe she was sick. You know what I mean? She looked fine.
Yeah,
she looked way better than Battle did, and that's for sure.
Yeah, she did look fine. She was also 3 pounds overweight.
So yeah, that also adds to why I'm no longer confident. It's weird. We don't know what's really going on there.
Exactly. We really don't know. And that's kind of what it comes down to. It's just the unknown. And I kind of know what I'm going to get from Cachoeira. I know she's going to eat shots, but I know she's tough as shit and she's going to fight for 15 minutes for the money.
She's not going to get finished unless it's by submission.
Exactly. So we'll move on to this next fight. Had a little disagreement there, which is good. Can't always agree on every fight. Here we have Devin Clark against Azamat Mirzakhanov. Right here, Devin Clark's last fight was at heavyweight, but it was a short notice fight, and he kind of just took that against William Knight because William Knight's fat ass can't make weight. But we have Mirzakhanov is a slight favorite here, about minus 155. I really like that line for him. I'm probably going to get to the window on Mirzakhanov. I think I'm going to bet him just straight up. I just don't think Devin Clark is very good. I think he's one of those fighters he's kind of an old school fighter in the sense that if control time, like up against the cage without doing much damage, was worth something, I would maybe feel like betting on him a little bit more. But he's just not. He doesn't have great striking. He doesn't really have great wrestling. His whole game is really, if you watch, is like, let me get you up on the clinch. He reminds me of Eric Anders. That's who he really reminds me of. He reminds me a lot of Eric Anders, where he loves the clinch work, and that's his game. Mirzakhanov is going to be the significantly better striker, in my opinion. He's Russian, but he's not really a grappler, so don't get that really confused. He's one of the guys who just doesn't really wrestle. He's a little bit older. He will be 33. He only has 11 pro fights, so experience-wise does lean the Clark side. The Teflon and Chukwi fight, he was losing this entire fight, and then he caught him with a flying knee. The Matthias Sheffield fight, just a nice finish. It wasn't anything crazy, but he finished him. And then the rest of these, I mean, they're decent fighters, but nobody significant. I mean, guys, 0-3. So how good was that guy? Really, nobody knows. I'm going Mirzakhanov here. I just think the striking advantage is going to be pretty vast. And I think he should be prepared for the takedowns. I think he should be prepared for the clinch. And one thing about Devin Clark that I did hear him mention is he said that he thinks that this will be more of a stand-up fight. I don't think he's looking for it to go on the ground, although he does average about 2.5 takedowns a fight. So there is that. But I'm leaving Mirzakhanov here. I think Mirzakhanov should get the win. Probably by decision is my guess, but it's tough because that last fight was not exciting against Nchukwi. He was losing that fight for the entire fight pretty badly. I mean, he was down 2-0, and then he caught him with a flying knee. But that's who Azamat is. He is that guy. He's a decent striker who has finishes. So this is my side. It's more of a fading Devin Clark then I'm super confident in Mirzakhanov. But that's all I'm rocking. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also Mirzakhanov. I'm kind of going back and forth if I want to bet it or not. I think the line's there. Guys like him, he's undefeated, all finishes. He kind of just finds a way to do it, man. Kind of just finds a way, finds that opening. Clark's there to be hit. I mean, it will be interesting to see the wrestling defense of Mirzakhanov in case of that situation where Clark brings his wrestling shoes. But those flying knees, man, I really do think Ozmon's probably going to find a way to finish Clark. And that's kind of where I'm leaning. I think the line is about where it should be, to be honest. And yeah, like I'm really on the fence. I think I might get myself to do it, but man, I was against him. I had Nchukwu the last time, and Nchukwu just died on me, man. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, I actually had Azamat that fight, and I was stressing that whole time. I was like, fuck, I lost my money. And then he caught him with the flying knee. I remember I was so hyped. I remember jumping off the couch, hella hyped. Because that shit, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I wasn't watching live, but I just remember you telling me, like, oh, yeah, Nchukwu's Nchukwu's definitely going to win. And then all of a sudden.
Yeah, that happened. That's really how I feel. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I don't want to bet the fight. But I also think it could be very easy money for Mirzakhanov to just come out here, put on a striking clinic, and call it a day. But his striking accuracy is not great. It's only 43%. His defense is decent. But the thing is Devin Clark has a 46% striking defense. And when you compare that to Priscilla Cachoeira, for instance, who's at 45%, I mean, they're blocking punches with their faces, right? And you can't block punches with your faces in the light heavyweight division for long. And I think that's a big thing, too. His striking defense is just really subpar, and his striking isn't great. And I think another big thing is Azamat is a southpaw. So, attacking in the clinch, going for takedowns in that sense for Clark is going to be a bit different, fighting a southpaw versus conventional fighters. He did not get knocked out against William Knight, but I don't know. William Knight something's going on with that guy, and I think someone needs to check on him. Because I don't know. I don't know how you make light heavyweight and then what is it? Does he always? Yeah, I don't. That's beside the point. I don't know. I'm going with Mirzakhanov. I'm just not a huge fan of Clark. I love his dad though. His dad gets me hyped when his dad be telling him to do stuff in the octagon. His dad just be yelling at him, telling him to do all this crazy shit. Yeah. It's fun.
I mean, look, his wins are freaking awful, dude.
Exactly. So bad, man.
Like Alonzo Meadowfield by far his best win. Next is William Knight or Daquan Townsend.
Yeah, and literally, it's so funny. Like the UFC literally just gave him the UFC gave Devin Clark every weak ass black man in the UFC. It was like, go fight them. Ryan Spann, trash. Daquan Townsend, trash. Alonzo Meadowfield, trash. William Knight, trash.
Yeah, these guys are world beaters.
Yeah, he lost to Anthony Smith. He got his teeth knocked in by Ion Cutelaba. And that's kind of what concerns me is...
That's why I faded him against William Knight. I'm like, William Knight just got to hit him once.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I think, is I think he just needs to get hit once or twice and he's done. But he's also fought some really good people too. He's fought Jan. He's fought Alexander Rakic. He's fought Anthony Smith. I mean, Ion Cutelaba is also a quality fighter. So he's lost to very good people too. And so I can't say that he's just out here getting dogged by scrubs, because three of his losses are against top 5 ranked people at some point in the UFC, so.
For sure.
But we're both on the Mirzakhanov side. I think he just will have that striking advantage. And you look at Clark, he just doesn't have a ton to offer there. So we'll move on to the next fight. We are on, what is it, the third to last fight? Yeah. So this fight right here, I'm not entirely sure why this is on the main card, let alone right before the co-main, but maybe we'll find out on Saturday. We have Yasmin, I don't even know. I'm not gonna try, bro. Against Lasmin Lucindo. Both these women are 5-0 in their last 5 fights. They're both extremely young, 23, 20 years old. They will be the same height. I mean, just looking at the pictures, it looks like Lucindo will have a shorter reach, but I don't know because it nothing says. I was trying to look for their reaches, but I couldn't find it. When I was just searching up Yasmin, she's pretty highly touted. A lot of people are hyping her up, and she is pretty big favorite. She's minus 200, minus 210. She should win this fight. I'm going to lean her side. I really just don't know much about these women, and with that, I'm just going to pick the bigger favorite, the 23-year-old. She's the favorite. She does have less experience though, but she's older. And she's also fighting out of Brandon Moreno's camp out in Tijuana. Moreno's now kind of in the US / Tijuana, but his old camp in Mexico, that's who she's fighting with. So when I think about it in that aspect, she is also the number 1 woman in Latin America, which is ranked wise, which is pretty impressive. So that's who I'm going with Yasmin here. I don't know if I would bet on this fight because I really don't know anything about these women. I watched one fight of each. And I mean, while I was impressed, I watched this fight right here and I watched, I think it was this one actually. I watched this one right here. So I'm going to go Yasmin, but again, I'm not confident in this pick. I don't know much about these women, but we'll learn more about them on Saturday. So that's my pick. I might get a bet around on fight day, but as of right now, I don't have a bet.
All right, so I just kind of put it together. All right, I'm going to preface this by saying I haven't watched tape on either of them. But with that saying said, where is this card taking place?
San Diego.
Where is Tijuana, Mexico?
Right south of San Diego.
Yeah. Who's the big favorite? Who's pretty much 100% finish rate? Jirigi. So I have a strong feeling that this is probably a setup fight for her. She looks like a world beater, especially just given what I've seen of her stats. I'll definitely be looking into some of her footage, but it doesn't look like there's too much to watch because most of her fights end pretty quickly. She only has 2 fights go to decision, and I doubt I'll be able to find them. So yeah, I'm going to lean her. Like you said, there's probably a reason why they're on the main card. It's probably a reason why she's a big favorite, and there's probably a reason why she's from freaking Tijuana, Mexico, fighting for the first time on a San Diego card. So especially if you say she's the number 1 Latin America woman in the world, she's obviously very hyped up, and probably a lot of people know about her in that area. So I'm going to lean her. No bet right now. Very well could change. I actually expect that to change at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And just to read the article that I saw, shout out to my man, the Wes Belfort on Twitter. He posted the article, and I actually went and searched it up, and I read the entire thing, but I'm just going to quote what the little picture says. It says she will debut in the most relevant company of mixed martial arts with undefeated record of 8-0. She's considered the best female prospect in Latin America with the support of the Intram gym, which is where Brandon Moreno used to train, and with that special motivation being her mother. So when you're the number 1 woman in your area, and Latin America is a big region. That's not just like Mexico. Latin America is a very large
Central America.
Yeah. Exactly. So you're talking about Venezuela. You're talking about all these places. That's how I'm leaning. We're both Yasmin. I think, just like you said, it's a nice setup fight for her. So we'll move on to the next fight. It's pretty straightforward. This one. All right, we got David Onama. What the fuck? Sorry. We got David Onama versus Nate Landwehr. I actually clicked on an ad and it took me to some other shit. Onama is a big favorite here. He is minus 285. Nate Landwehr is sitting at what is he sitting at? Plus 225. So I don't really know how I feel about this fight. I mean, Onama should win this fight, but Nate Landwehr he's tough. That's a tough motherfucker. He took a flying knee by Erosa, but when you take like knees to the face, when you take like kicks to the face, I don't really care how durable you are. Like, not many people can take a knee to the dome. Like that. Like, do you feel how hard your knee is? Like, that shit's fucking hard, you know. So like, not many people can survive that. His other loss, I mean, knee from the clinch from Herbert Burns, that is not lovely either. So that's why I'm on the Onama side here, just because Landwehr does have some pretty suspect losses, in my opinion. When you lose to Herbert Burns, it's not a good look. But you look at his fights, I mean, he hasn't really lost in a while. Outside of those two fights. Before then, his last time he was finished was 2015, but 3 of his 4 losses are by finish. And you look at Onama, his wins, finish. So, I mean, he's finishing everybody, and Nate Landwehr, 3 of his 4 losses are by finish. So I have to assume that Onama is going to win here. I have to assume Onama is going to finish him. But then I have to think about the opposite side. What if Onama doesn't get him out of there? What does Onama's cardio look like? Because we know Landwehr has cardio. We know Landwehr can go 3 rounds without a doubt. So it's interesting. This is really just a big vet against a very hyped prospect. Onama's 28 too, so while he's a prospect, he's in that young physical prime. You know, that prime's kind of like 27 to about 32, your physical prime, and so he's right, just hitting it. He's right in the cusp of it. The way I personally think I am going to attack this fight is Onama by TKO or submission, which is double chance. That's minus 110, which is a lot better than that minus 280. Because I think that's how he probably gets this fight done. I think in 15 minutes he can get Nate Landwehr out of there. It's just a matter of which way can you get him out of there. And you look at his fights, he's been to the 3rd round 1 time. He got a guillotine choke. And then, round 2, round 1, round 2, round 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So he's getting people out of there real quick. He lost to Mason Jones. And I mean, that was a great fight he put up on short notice. He fought Mason Jones and he put up a fucking fight. And so I'm probably, and I know I said earlier, I don't like taking those minus props, but this is a little bit more exposure because you're getting the TKO and the submission. You're not just getting one. And it's at minus 110 on Bovada right now. And so I don't see why that's not why that can't hit, So that's probably how I'm going to lean this fight, and I'll probably put that bet in at minus 110. I might put 2 units on it.
That's a great bet.
Yeah, I mean, kind of see how it goes.
Well, inside the distance is obviously the same, so
yeah, it is.
It's the same odds too.
Yeah. So you're looking at that. It's the same odds. So you could pick ITD if you'd rather just do that. The double chance seeing it there. That's what I was looking at. So
I was like, wait, is that really I feel like there's a better way of saying that.
Well, yeah. Well, there's the double chance. The odds of double chance are on there. Sometimes they're different, the inside the distance and the double chance. But most people like to target the double chance when it's like a TKO decision or submission decision.
Yeah.
But TKO decision is minus 200. And then, the inside the distance is minus 110. So that's not.
Want to hear something crazy?
Huh.
That last win by Landwehr was a sub. That's his only sub in his pro career.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not banking on him finishing
I know,
Onama.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I just thought that was interesting. I was like, is he a submission guy? And then I was like, no, he is not.
No, he's not. He's really just kind of like, I don't know. He reminds me of like a Clay Guida type of guy, just kind of out there doing a lot of shit and tough, the cardio. That's really him. But I'm on Onama. I might take a sprinkle on that inside the distance or the double chance, whatever you want, whichever one you want. It's the same odds. So
yeah,
that's how I'm feeling. I mean, Onama's younger, he's bigger, he's longer. What's there not to like?
yeah, I'm definitely the same. Like I've been riding him ever since I saw that Mason Jones fight. I was like, this guy like down a weight class against Mason Jones. Mason Jones is a stud.
Right?
Until the last fight, dude, he fucking pissed me off. But anyways, Onama, yeah, dude, absolutely murdered Gabriel Benitez. Hit that man with like a 12-piece combo. He's got the hands, he's got the chin, he's got the durability, he's got the submission skills. He's at a good camp. He's a pretty big favorite, but honestly, like I like him and Ganitas a lot. So I'm gonna tag those two, I think, with Bode and let that ride and see how that goes. But yeah, totally on David Onama. Love his fighting style, love his game, love his size, love his age, love his intangibles. I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah. You want to hear some amazing MMA math for you?
Sure.
So, Nate Landwehr beats Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein beats Mason Jones.
Yeah.
Mason Jones beats Onama.
Yeah.
So you look at it like that, you're like, oh, maybe Nate Landwehr has a shot. But I think obviously has potential to win.
Mason Jones did take that on short notice, but God, he was such an idiot, man.
Yeah, he did it. It was just bad. It was bad fight IQ by Jones. Yeah. But this fight really just comes down to, can Nate Landwehr take Onama's shots? And I think that's going to be the big thing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, MMA math never works. I was just kind of bullshitty with MMA math. I just thought it was funny.
That is funny.
But yeah, so I'm on Onama. I think it's pretty clear him. I think when you get some of these younger up and coming fighters who don't have a lot of fights under their belt, the UFC gives them vets like Landwehr that they can beat. And it kind of gives them a good name under their belt.
For sure.
We'll move on to the last fight of the night, though, y'all. If you are enjoying yourself, please, please, please drop a like, drop a subscribe. It will be much appreciated. We'll love you for it.
Long time.
Long time. Love you long time. All right. We're going on to the main event. We have a banger here. We have Marlon Chito Vera against Dominick, the Dominator Cruz. Tail of the tape, I'll break that down real quick. Chito will be 8 years younger. They will have the same height, and Chito will have a 2.5-inch reach advantage. I did not know Chito trained with Team Oyama. That's a little interesting.
He's like all over the place, I swear. But yeah, I think he's majority there.
He really is. Like he's always with different people and doing different shit. Chito's really his own man. That man just does what the fuck he wants. This fight right here, I don't know. I don't want to say I've gone back and forth per se, because the moment I looked at this, I was on the Dominick Cruz side. And it more at first was the betting odds. I don't necessarily think Chito should be this big of a favorite. Chito sitting at minus 250 is a bit extreme for me. When I look at his fighting style, he's a very slow starter. He usually gives up round one every time. This is a 5-round fight, though, so that's not as important as it is in a 3-round fight. When I look at Chito, he's a moment winner. He's not necessarily a minute winner, which isn't a bad thing, because he wins these moments a lot. The Frankie Edgar fight caught him with that front kick. The Sean O'Malley fight, he got him good. The Rob Font fight, he hit him with some devastating shots. He hurt him almost every single time at the end of the round. So that was definitely impressive. He had the Sean O'Malley win. I know he hurt O'Malley, but I don't know. O'Malley was hurt, so I don't know how much to take into consideration to that. I don't really know how to value that. I've said on Twitter that I think Chito is the rightful favorite. However, I think he should be more like minus 125 to minus 150 at max. I don't think he should be a minus 250 favorite. I think that when I watch back Marlon Chito Vera's tape, when he fights against guys that move around a lot and are just like always all over the place, he's more of like what it reminds me of is Chris Curtis versus Hermanson in this last fight, where Hermanson just bounced around on the outside and Curtis never cut off the octagon. He just kind of chased him. And Chito does a lot of that. He does a lot of chasing. He doesn't do a lot of cutting off the ring, or I guess the octagon. We're not in boxing, but he doesn't do a lot of cutting off the octagon. And that is what kind of concerns me in this fight, because Dominick Cruz is like the master of throwing two punches and then just like getting out of the way and just being somewhere else. Like he throws 1 or 2 punches, 3 punches, and he's just like gone. Throws 1 or 2 punches and he's gone. And that's what kind of concerns me in this fight with Vera. I think that he's going to have a difficult time hitting Cruz. And that's really how I feel. I think he's going to have a tough time hitting Cruz. And I know Cruz got hurt in his last fight. In the first round, he got dropped 2 times in a row, like back to back. Like he got dropped, got up, got dropped again. But just how quickly he recovered, and he still like won the end of that round, which I thought was impressive. And then went on to win the next 2 rounds pretty easily and decisively. I don't know. I'm on the Cruz side here. I think the line, and it's mainly just because the line is just off to me. I don't think Cruz is a plus 190. I think, like I said, Chito's like more 125, 150 max. Cruz should be more like plus 145-ish, plus 130-ish. That's how I feel about this fight. I think when you look at like their strength of schedule, obviously Cruz has fought the way better competition, but that was years ago prior to his injuries, and so that does play a factor too. Like how good is he post injury? I think that Cejudo fight was a bad stoppage in my opinion. He did have the Casey Kenny fight. That was a split. That was kind of You don't want to split with Casey Kenny, who's not in the UFC anymore, I'm pretty sure. And then he beat Munoz. So this fight more for me is, I think Cruz can hit Vera enough and not get hit enough to where he'll just outpoint him in a 5-round decision. But there is always the chance that Vera catches him and hurts him and finishes him, like Chito Vera has done in almost all of his other fights when he's winning these fights. He's hurting people. I just don't think that he has that like killer in him. He had Font hurt 3-4 times and just couldn't get him out of there. And I don't think Cruz is gonna get hit like Font was getting hit. I don't know. This fight, it's tough because I love Chito like as a fan. Like I love to watch him fight, but I just think he struggles with people who have a lot of movement. And Cruz is just going to be faster. But I don't know. I haven't bet this fight. Again, I'm probably going to wait till the day of because I think the line is going to get wider. And it's plus 190 now. I think I probably can going to get at least plus 200, if not better, on Saturday. So that's how I'm going with this one.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on the Cruz side. No,
the Vera side.
Vera side. Yeah, sorry, no. But if you are on the Cruz side, he's not finishing Vera. He's not submitting Vera. He's not knocking out Vera. So you might as well just take the plus 225 decision prop. And a lot of people like to say, Vera's a slow starter, but you know what? According to the last two fights, so is Cruz. He lost the first round in both fights, I believe. He almost got knocked out in the first round of the what's it called fight? Pedro Munez fight. I think that he's an old bantamweight. I think that Marlon Vera has the power and durability advantage. I think you could say, he's going to be dancing around him, but dancing around, I think Chito Vera is just going to keep walking him down. I don't think he's going to be able to dance around him for 25 minutes and not get hit cleanly at least a handful of times. Shown by Rob Font. Rob Font, the numbers are the numbers, right? Don't get me wrong, but I'd say half of those numbers are freaking jabs, dude, and jabs that aren't even powerful pillow jabs, I'd say. Marlon Vera got hit 260 times, it says, but didn't even really look like he was in a fight after. Well, you couldn't even recognize Rob Font. And that was a 5-round fight. Everyone's saying, Vera in a 5-round fight. That's spirit animal, killer. You don't want to see that. So I honestly think that he's going to hurt Cruz probably in the first 3 rounds. Cruz is going to survive. He's going to keep going, but I think he's going to finish the job in rounds 3 through 5. I like inside the distance. I think Cruz is kind of past his prime. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. I'm going to be riding Vera. He's going to be ending my parlays. And I'll preface this by saying two of my favorite fighters in the UFC are Chito Vera and Sean O'Malley. So, I'm probably slightly biased, but I just don't see how Dominick Cruz is able to weather 25-minute storm of Chito Vera, who's entering his prime while he's definitely out of his prime.
Yeah,
Cruz,
for sure.
is.
For sure. No, and I think that's the biggest thing is the age. I think the age is the biggest factor in this.
I would agree.
You take Dominick Cruz at 33 years old. I think he wins this fight pretty easily, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
But I think the age is going to be the difference. And we don't know how Cruz is going to look at rounds 4 and 5, how that cardio is and his movement. But the reason why I'm on his side is just in the 5-round fights in the past, he looked the same in round 1 as he did in round 5. And if there's one thing that you can maintain no matter how old you get, it's cardio. You can always have good cardio. Durability goes down, power goes down, that all drops, but you can have good cardio. Speed drops a little bit, but you can always have good cardio. And so that's kind of my thing is if he can keep up that fast pace movement, just that in and out, that coming in, boom, boom, out, boom, boom, out. I think that's his success. But what you said, I think is right. If you're going to pick the Dominick Cruz side, probably by decision is that move because Chito doesn't get finished. You look at Chito's record. Has he ever been finished? I don't think so. But no, all unanimous losses. And that's kind of the thing that concerns me too with Chito is his losses are all by decision. And Dominick Cruz, 16 of his fights are decisions, that's how he's winning fights is mainly by decision. So the way Chito loses is the way Dominick Cruz wins. And that's a big thing for me. And I don't know. He got hit pretty hard I watched the Cody Garbrandt fight back when Cody Garbrandt was on his A game. And, Cody Garbrandt has power. He was getting rocked by Garbrandt. He was okay. But, Munoz hurt him twice. So it's very possible that he could get hurt again. So that I'm not disputing that at all.
It'll be a good fight. It will be a good fight regardless.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm definitely excited for this fight. Dominick Cruz is a pioneer of the sport. He's been around forever. He's fought the best people in this division. And Marlon Vera has also fought very good people. He's fought Aldo. He's fought
Edgar
O'Malley.
O'Malley, yeah.
See, the thing that also concerns me is he lost to Yadong Song. See, the thing is he lost to Yadong Song.
All right, but he won that fight. Everybody thinks that he won that fight. Like everybody.
But it was a unanimous loss too. That's like the thing that concerns me.
I mean, so was Jian Kim's or whatever.
It wasn't split. I know. It concerns me when you lose.
He gets
fights.
hoed. He might get hoed. Yeah.
It concerns me when he loses fights against guys who have good movement. And that's kind of the issue is the guys he's beating are guys who stand there and just walk forward and don't have a ton of movement. And I mean, truthfully, I thought he was losing the O'Malley fight until O'Malley got hurt.
Oh yeah, he was.
And so you look at that, like I just think when you look at him fighting guys with good movement, he's losing. And you see him fight guys with not so great movement, he's winning. But it goes both ways. I think that, like you said, 5-round fight probably favors Vera more just because he gets stronger as the fight goes. But yeah, I mean, I can't argue against Vera necessarily. It's more of the betting line that I think is just way too wide. I think Vera's getting a lot of the fan votes right now, a lot of public votes. A lot of people are on Vera, but I think Cruz is definitely one of the more live dogs as well. There's a couple live dogs. I think honestly, all the live dogs are on the main card. Like the prelims, I don't think many of the underdogs have a shot on the prelims. But I think in the main card, there's a couple live dogs.
I would agree with that.
All right. Well, we really just broke down that. We took a little bit extra time today.
It's a lot of fights.
Yeah. There's how many fights are on this card?
13.
Yeah. So that's why it took us so long. We got about an hour and 40 minutes in, 13 fights broken down. If you guys enjoy the content, please drop a like, drop a subscribe. And your
likes.
Feel free to drop your picks in the comments, whether you disagree, agree with us. Go ahead and drop your comments. Feel free.
Say which one of us is an idiot. Tell us which one of us is a genius,
Exactly. Whatever you feel is right, But we appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out. It was a bit longer of a breakdown, but we hope that it was of value and that you can win some bets this week. But that's really all I have to say. I don't have too many bets right now at the moment. I only have about 2 or 3. I got O'Day and O'Day and Priscilla Cachoeira. So that's really all I have at the moment. Both moneyline plays. But I will tweet out if I have anything else. Any last thoughts from you, my man, before we end this?
Nope. Really, all I have is the Josh Quinlan by TKO. I have a 4-leg parlay of Godinez, Osborne, Onama, and Vera. And that's about it. We'll see about Marzakhanov, and maybe I'll add, Marzakhanov, or maybe not Marzakhanov, Silva, and like Lucinda, or not Jaregi, or something like that. Someone I feel safe with. But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Sounds good. I hope those hit for you for sure.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, best of luck to everybody on your card this week.
Should be a fun one.
Yep, should be a great one. All right, y'all. So you have a great night, great week, great card. Best of luck to everybody. Peace out. Have a good one, everyone.
We out.